All right, everybody. It is a beautiful, glorious day here in Virginia. It is Wednesday, April 19th, around 1 o'clock. And I'm here with Tucker Home Run Holloway. Tucker had a 77-yard day in the spring game, including maybe the play of the day, maybe 39-yard catch from Pop Watson. Tucker, second time on the show, second time getting through spring ball. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Sure. I'm doing great, man. It's great to be here. Great to be on the podcast again. Second time around spring ball, just finishing up. So it's a good feeling, Morale is high for sure.
So we were chatting about this a little bit before we hit record. I want to ask you, how did it feel to go through spring ball as a sophomore? Not a lot of sophomores get to go through spring ball for the second time, but this was your second time going through spring ball. What kind of did you know going into it? What were some of the things that you were focusing on improving? And how did getting that first year of spring ball under your belt help you out?
Yeah, for sure. Going into spring ball, and me and Coach Pry, me and mine's wide receiver coach, we talked about this in the fall when I decided not to redshirt and play my games, the last few games. But I knew that my goal, my preparation right now is all focused towards how am I going to be the most prepared to play in September. And when we start playing in the season. And so for me, spring ball wasn't about proving to people that I'm good or proving certain things. Spring ball for me was about getting better in a lot of different areas that I knew I needed to get better in. And then also, I would say the thing that I loved about spring ball that I wasn't really expecting was it exposed a lot of new areas that now I know I got to get better in this area, and I need to train harder in this area, which is going to be great because off season now, pretty much, we got time in the summer. We're going to get all types of good timing going with the cues and throwing and stuff like that. So I don't know, spring, it was great. And this being my second time around, I already had a feel for what the spring was going to look like. And the spring is real unique. Just, it's not like camp. We still have classes and we still have obligations outside of football. But it was cool just being able to manage it and knowing what I was getting myself into going into it. But also knowing what the coaching staff was expecting out of me and knowing what I had to do to get better. It was great. It was a really good spring. Well, I got out of spring what I wanted to get out of it. And it was just getting better and focusing on my game and areas I need to improve.
So talking about some of those new faces, I want to focus in on the receiver room. Ollie Jennings, Daquan Felton, Jalen Lane. How have they adjusted to the team? And can you tell me one thing special or that stands out about each one of those new receivers?
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with who you said first, Ollie. And I would say just in general, all three of those guys, when they came in, you never know. You don't know with transfers, what they're going to be like, how they're going to mesh with the rest of the group. And there's a lot of questions that come with that when you see guys like that commit. Are they going to be too big-headed for everybody else? Are they going to fit in? Are they going to push the group? Are they going to want and have the same type of cultural mentality that we want in the group? And I would say just to start off, the group that we brought in has been great. And I've talked to the coaches about this, and I've talked to the media just in general, saying those three guys have pushed our group and are going to make our group a really good, competitive. I think we can be one of the best receiver rooms in the ACC. And so it was really cool to see. But yeah, so Ollie Jennings, great player. Obviously, a lot of high expectations for him, and we know that he can be a great asset to the team. He came in, and I would say just to go along with what I said already, pushed our group, but also didn't just push them as far as being on the field and athletically, and as far as being better receiver group competing on the field, but also just as a receiver room, did a great job of being a verbal leader early on and just helping the group come together and push for that same, common goal, which is just to get better throughout spring. So great guy, great athlete. Love having him in the room. He's already helped us a lot and is going to help us a lot. And then Daquan Felton, great guy, very verbal leader. Love the way that he was verbal from the beginning. You know, a lot of guys are quiet at first, and then they kind of get to where they're more verbal. But pretty much from the beginning, he got in and he was like, you know, it's time to work. Let's go. Very verbal in the way that he leads. But then the way that he competes and plays just follows that. So that's what you like to see from, you know, an older dude, a more mature guy who's played a lot of football. And so, yeah, great guy. Love having him in the room. Just like Ali makes the room a lot more competitive and a lot better on the field and off the field. And then Jalen Lane, definitely a great addition, and the same as the first two. Really good player, very good player on the field. Great guy off the field, easy to get along with. He pushes our room to be better. You know, he's playing in the slot, and he's made a lot of plays throughout the spring. So it's cool to see, you know, another guy from the portal come in and have immediate impact on the field and in the wide receiver room off the field. So all three of those guys have been great. And the same thing with the freshmen that have come in. Like everyone that's in the room, and I've said this to the coaches, our room this year is closer than it was last year at this point, and I love that. Like I love the way that everybody is pushing for that common goal, and the way that we've accepted each other, and but in a way that we're going to hold each other accountable to make sure that we're getting better as a group and individually. So, yeah.
Opportunity to brag on one of your boys on the team. Steven Gosnell won Most Improved Player. Can you talk a little bit about the spring that he had and the strides that he's made, and maybe a little "I told you so"? Because the last time you were on here, you
told you, man. I told you.
You did.
Last time, man. Last time I was on the podcast, I said y'all got to watch out for Steven Gosnell. And I was mainly talking about this season, but obviously, I think everyone got to see that in the spring, whether that was in practice or in the spring game. He got a lot better physically and just in the way he approached the game. His body and his physique changed a lot. He slimmed down. He worked on his speed a lot, got a lot faster. And you could see like the hard work pay off that he put in from when the season ended to when we came back and started winter training. Dude, that's one of the most like high football IQ receivers we have in the room. I love picking his brain. I love talking to him just because I know that I'm going to learn when I talk to him. Yeah, he's one of my best friends in the room, best friends on the team. But the way he pushes the room and the way he's pushed the me and each one of the guys in the receiver room has been impressive this spring, especially. He's not as much of a verbal leader, but he leads by example, and those guys are vital to a team. But yeah, I mean, nothing but good things to say about Steven. He's just going to keep getting better. He's going to be he's going to play a big role in the receiver room and in the offensive pass game and run game during the season. So this is the kind of guy that you love to see kind of like rising to the top and coming to the best part of his game towards, you know, the last 2 years of his career. So, yeah, most improved. He deserved it. I think everyone knew he was going to get it, and that's what you like to see out of a guy like that. Very consistent. Yeah, love him.
So obviously, the talk of the fan base for the entire spring, following the spring game, has been the quarterback battle between Grant Wells, Mr. Drones, and potentially Pop Watson. Certainly a competition that'll carry into the fall. I want to ask you, what do you believe makes each quarterback unique, and what did they improve upon most?
Yeah, so obviously the big two guys at the top right now, Grant Wells and Kyron Drones. The springs both of those guys had were super impressive, and I would say they're most definitely different. Obviously, Grant, starting quarterback last year, coming back, he knew the offense, he knew everything kind of going into spring, and Kyron transferring in, you know, it was all new to him. So a little bit different for those two guys, but just start with Grant. I mean, Grant had a great spring, and everyone on the team knows that Grant can play. There's no doubt, and I don't think anyone in the offensive unit's mind or anyone on the team that Grant can manage the game well and that he can make plays. And he showed that throughout the spring. He did a great job. And it's what you like to see out of your returning starter. So I think, obviously he's just going to continue to get better. Hopefully throughout the summer we'll increase our timing with all the quarterbacks, but definitely Grant. And then Kyron, definitely a different story, but had a great spring as well. I think he only got better throughout the spring, which is what you want to see out of a dude transferring in like that. He really did get a lot better. He started out just trying to figure out. You could tell just trying to figure out everything, trying to figure out the offense, trying to figure out timing with the receivers. But what I love about Kyron is that's a dude who is not afraid of work, and I love that about him. He's always willing to get into extra work, whether that's after practice or on an off day. So I think that's going to help him a lot throughout the summer and then going into camp. Specifically on those two, like that's going to be a battle in fall camp. That's going to be fun to watch. Like I think everybody here is excited about both of them and the potential that they both have. And I trust both of them. And I think the coaching staff trust both of them and is starting to, trust Kyron more as he's learning the offense and learning just the progression of everything. But yeah, those two are going to compete in camp, and it's going to be fun to watch. And I think whoever we put out there for come first game, Old Dominion at home, we're going to have full confidence in them. I think the fan base should do the same. There's no reason they shouldn't. They're going to battle it out, and whoever wins that job is going to deserve it. They're not going to give it to someone who doesn't deserve it. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. It's going to be fun to watch. Both those guys are coming along really well. And then, yeah, Pop Watson, definitely a guy who, he's a flashy player. He makes plays that are very impressive for sure, just to watch, especially out of a freshman. I think, his overall development is going to be critical for him getting on the field and playing. I think he's just going to keep getting better. And, for a guy like that, it's all about development. And that's what we're really good at doing at Virginia Tech. And so, yeah, he's just going to get better, and he's just going to keep making plays. I think, what you look for in a guy like that is just more consistent play, which is going to come. He's very young. And we saw him make plays throughout the spring, but you just want more and more consistency out of a guy like that, and that comes with development. So it's going to be cool to watch. All three of those guys are exciting. The quarterback room is exciting. It's going to be fun to watch the competition that comes out of that room and every other room. So, yeah.
So one of the big things, and I'll never forget, Sam Rogers had this conversation with the team when spring was over, and we were just talking about, like, spring is a grind. Like, we talk about how hard summer camp is, but spring, the practices are parsed out, but you're also taking 15 credits. You're also have a million other responsibilities. So when spring's over, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we got to it. But what was the message from the coaching staff? What was the message from you guys? Because basically, you're not going to spend a ton of time with your coaches. You're going to be spending a lot of time with the strength coaches, and it's basically going to be on y'all to spend time with each other. So what are your goals before you put the pads back on? What is going to be your focus where you're not going to be spending time on the practice field with coaches, but it's got to be a lot of player-led stuff that's going to ultimately determine a big portion of what this team is going to be next year?
For sure. This summer is going to be massive for us. And specifically from a receiver standpoint, talking about that competition and that battle between Kyron and Grant, the summer is going to be integral to that competition and to who is on the field come that first game against Old Dominion. I love the way that, like I said, Kyron puts in work, and he's making the whole quarterback room better. And so Grant's going to do the same thing. The summer is going to be really, really good for the quarterback room and the receiver room, just because that's when we get all of our timing and all of that type of stuff, just to where it's clicking going into fall camp. And that's what you want. I know that we as a receiver room, we got our goals and we have things that we've set in place where we're trying to get, as improved going into camp as we possibly can, individually and collectively as a wide receiver room. And I think that's gonna carry over into the quarterback room and the running back room and so forth. I know that I think everybody's ready to work and we know what we need to do. I know, like me personally, like I got to get a lot better. And there's a lot of things that I need to work on to be able to really compete at the best of my ability and to be accountable on the field on Saturdays come fall. So, I think the summer's going to be really good. I think we're gonna get a lot better throughout the summer. I know we're going to get a lot better throughout the summer. This summer is going to be even better than last summer. What I love about what I'm seeing so far from this team right now and then going into the summer is like each session we call them phases. That's kind of Coach Pry's saying we go through 5 phases every year. So we have winter training, we have spring ball, and then we have summer training, fall camp, and then the season. So that's the 5 phases. And since the new coaching staff got here, like each phase has been better. This is by far this spring was way better than last year. And obviously, you're installing everything like that. But the winter phase was better than last year's winter phase, and the spring phase was much better than last year's spring phase. And so I expect the same thing out of the summer. The summer is going to be really good, as well as fall camp, and then we expect that to roll into season. So high expectations, but I think everybody's ready to work, and it's going to be really good.
Last couple for you. I want to ask you about the weekend itself that didn't have anything to do with football. So did you have a chance to attend the networking night?
So I didn't attend the networking night. I had family coming in for the spring game weekend. So I spent time with my family. But I heard a lot about it, and I have the intentions of going to the next one. I love what our people have done as far as using the networking nights. It's crazy, like how good and how profitable those have been for the rest of my teammates. I've talked to them about them, and it's awesome what the program is doing as far as that goes.
No, I mean, I talked to Sean Glenn, and he had the opportunity to go there. And the one thing that he said was like, I can't believe how awesome it was. I wish that we had this when I was a player. Yeah. I guess to pivot off of that, what other type of non-football team building events did you guys do over the course of the spring that had nothing to do with X's and O's?
Yep. That's what it's all about. So I think there's a lot of things we can focus on. We can focus on community service. We have pretty much some type of community service provided every week where we got the opportunity to get out in the community. You don't have to attend every week, but each position group has to go to one, and then you can go to as many as you want. We can talk about community service. We can talk about the team and the things that we do as groups, as position groups. But what I want to talk about, like, specifically is we just started in the spring during spring ball, kind of mid spring ball. We started this thing called it's called like Hard Times, and there's nothing hard or tough about it. It's an acronym. I couldn't tell you exactly what it stands for because we just started it, still memorizing that stuff. But so what it is pretty much is as a position group, we usually go out, we eat once every like section or like I said, phase, like Coach Pry's phase. And we spend time together in the homes of our coaches and stuff like that. But what the Hard Times is it's an opportunity to split the team up. So they split the team up, not by position, not by unit or anything like that. It's literally just random. So I've got corners, I've got defensive linemen, I've got coaches on the defensive staff. Like my coach for it is Coach Marv, who's the defensive coordinator. And it's an opportunity for us to go out and do things with people on the team and build chemistry with dudes who we probably won't see that much and interact with in our day-to-day basis going throughout spring ball and summer ball and then fall camp. So just getting that going, getting that started. We've already had a few outings that we do. So that could be just going to Coach Mar's house to eat. That could be going out bowling, going to watch a movie. anything. It's just an opportunity to get the guys together and bond. The stronger the team is, and the stronger the brotherhood is between each player. Like that only makes you want to play for the guy across, the other guy across from you during practice, or like, even harder, and just be the best player you can because of the dudes and the bond that you have on your team. I think I've even talked to dudes who have graduated. They're gone. Like talking Isaiah Ford was here in the spring, and I spent a lot of time with him talking. I still talk to him like on a week-to-week basis. And one of the things, like each guy that comes in who was on a great Virginia Tech team, and they talk about what made it special. They always talk about the brotherhood. Like every time, you can always bank on them talking about the brotherhood. That's probably the first thing that they're going to mention. And so, like, that's what we're working on, and that's what Hard Times is for, and that's what it's kind of building, is that brotherhood. And I love it. It's been great so far. I'm getting to know guys that I wouldn't know well past just playing football and X's and O's if it wasn't for them making these groups. So that's specifically like something that I love talking about. We haven't even been doing it for long, but I've loved it so far. I'm getting to know Coach Marv and his family, getting to know defensive players and dudes who just I don't really interact on a day-to-day basis with in the facility. And so that's been great. I'm loving that. And I think that's going to only make us better when it comes to playing on the field.
No, it's very easy to become fractured by the position group that you see. And I'll never – one of the funniest things that ever happened was Coach Leffler was trying to instill this in us, and we didn't have any events. We didn't have anything else. He just got up there one time, and he was like, we need guys like Sam Rogers to hang out with Deion Clark.
Yeah.
Like Chris Durkin to hang out with Deion Newsome. And in the moment, like it was really funny, but that's truly does make special teams. And I think back to that 2016 team, it was like everybody was doing everything together. And it wasn't like the O-line is over here doing this, and the wide receiver group is over here doing this. Like it was all sorts of cross collaboration and talking to each other. Because when you're coming off the field, most of the time during a game, if the only interaction you're having with your teammate is in the facility, and when you're high fiving when you're coming off the field, that's not really what a team is. That's just everybody kind of
exactly.
So you mentioned Isaiah Ford. I remember he did mention he was going up there. I know he spent a few days up there. He was super excited and loved his time. Are there any other Hokie alumni, whether they played football or donors or business people that you were able to meet over the course of spring weekend?
Yeah, I would say it's crazy. Like Hokie Nation is a special thing, and if you were at the spring game, like, or you were here for any part of the weekend, I think you understand that. And each spring game that I've been here for 2 now. You see like what Hokie Nation is about. I remember like vividly Saturday. I was standing on the sideline. And it was when the girls' basketball team was out, and the fans just like went crazy.
Nice.
And it was insane. However, I don't know how many people were there, but it was crazy. It was so loud, and it felt like a normal game. That's how loud it was. But what's cool about that is they went crazy for the basketball team, but like every single one of those fans was out there for just to support us in the spring game. You know what I'm saying? And it's just cool to see the support that Hokie Nation brings. And that's not only something with the fan base, but that's something that the alumni have a huge role in. I would say the 2 guys that I stay in contact with the most, it definitely Isaiah Ford. That's number 1 for me. And he's taught me so much about the game. I love talking to him. It's been great. And then Eddie Royal, dudes like that who play my position and who love Hokie Nation and love the football team. A lot of schools, a lot of places, you don't find guys like that coming back and trying to invest, especially when we're not winning like they were. That's what we're working towards. That's what we're gonna get to. But when times are tough and when you're struggling per se, that's where a lot of fan bases, they kind of like shut down. And that's the opposite of what Hokie Nation has done, and more like specifically what the alumni have done. Like there's no real reason that like I do like Isaiah Ford should really come back and like want to invest time, like his time. Like he's got things he's got to do. He's working. He's playing in the league. Like he's working on a another contract, stuff like that. And so like to see dudes like that come back and want to invest because like they genuinely care, not because they're getting any. Like he didn't get anything out of that. You know what I'm saying? But like he wants us to be better. He wants me to be better. And it's about just like Hokie Nation. Like it's about the fan base and the community and just our team and what it means to be Virginia Tech Hokie. But it was just cool. Like I remember seeing all the fans on Saturday, and I turned to like two other people, and I was like, this makes me proud to be a Hokie. Like this type of community, you don't find that anywhere else. This makes me proud to be a Hokie. So it was just awesome to see. And it's everything that people talk about when they talk about Virginia Tech, and there's a lot of pride in that. So I take a lot of pride in being here.
Absolutely. And everybody's behind you. We're really looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys to get after it this summer. Cannot wait for this fall. Tucker, really appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of your semester. And we're looking forward to seeing you on the field.
Thank you.